Welcome. You're listening to Great Startup Marketing Podcast, where we invite over the marketing managers from the most successful Estonian startups to ask what has been working in their marketing and what has not. My name is Andreas.
And hi, my name is Marelle. And today we are going to have a short and sweet episode about getting media coverage, getting free PR, also when to use paid media. And in the studio, we have a journalist, Fiona Alston, and Danielle Coimbra from PR News .io. It's an Estonian marketing tech, or should I say PR tech company. So I'm really happy to have you here.
So welcome to the show.
Thanks
Welcome.
for having us.
By the way, PR News is one of the silver sponsors of Grid Conference that's going to happen for the first time in the history. So I'm very happy for that. Thank you for supporting us. Maybe let's start out with a short introduction about what is PR News. Because it's a big company, right? And I think many of our listeners don't really know about it.
Yeah, of course. So really nice to be here with you guys today. So first thing, we are not a PR agency. I think that's the most important thing to say because usually when we say PR, people kind of relate to an agency. So we are platform to facilitate, to simplify paid media placements. So we have a platform with more than 100,000 media outlets. So we help brands that want to get published in media outlets worldwide. So, for example, a brand wants to publish a press release or an interview or a thought leadership piece. They come to our website and then they can just browse and find the media outlet that goes accordingly to what they are looking for in terms of category, country, language, etc. And well, they choose, pay, and then they can just place the content. And after a few days, it's published in that media outlet.
Mhm.
So that's
Very
mainly
convenient.
what we do.
Great. So, and Fiona, tell us briefly, what is your background?
I am a journalist.
Mhm.
Obviously, I'm not Estonian. I'm Scottish by way of Ireland. Predominantly, I work in tech and business journalism. A lot of startups and founders' stories, those kind of things. I also do some human interest stories. I do love a good human interest story. And I do some advocacy as well. So in a lot of the publications I work for are in Ireland. So that would be kind of like the tech, the business side. I work for Irish Times, Image Magazine. A lot of that would be business women as well. Image Magazine's for women in business. And then I in Europe, Euractiv, I do some advocacy stuff for them. I've just started with Resilience Media as well, which is in defense and security, which is a very big topic at the moment. Very interesting. And then I also am part of the Nature Backed podcast with Tarmo. So yeah, that there we interview like founders and sort of activists and investors that are just trying to make an impact and create a better planet, or at least not to destroy the one that we're living on. So yeah, that's what I do. I have like fingers in many pies. So
Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like very wide coverage.
yes.
That's good. We have talked here in Grid Podcast quite a lot about getting free media coverage. But one topic I think we've never discussed before is getting paid media. So maybe, Danielle, like when would be a good time to think about like buying media coverage, or when should one do it?
Yeah, because as startups, we don't like to pay.
Yeah,
That's why we always talk about free things. But now it's time to talk about sometimes you need to pay.
Well, me and Fiona, we discussed that a lot.
And don't always agree.
Yeah, well, I'm also a journalist, which is important to notice because, of course, I understand as a PR, as a journalist, I understand that, and I think it's important to mention that paid media doesn't replace earned media. Earned has a different kind of weight, right? So I think that's the first thing. Of course, we agree.
But of course, we also understand that there are some scenarios that we would use paid. And as a PR, not because I work at PR News, but also as a PR myself, how I understand the use of paid media for PR and marketers as well. One is when we understand that you need to get published fast, time sensitive information. Or when you understand that news you want to get published, it's not newsworthy. What I mean is, it's not something that journalists, media in general, would understand as a good story. And then Fiona, maybe she can talk more about usually you don't write about companies, you write about stories, right? So that's one of the cases that we understand. So examples, PR News is gonna attend a conference. We are, with a booth or just as a participant. It's not newsworthy, right? Why a journalist would write about that? But for us, it is important news. For a company, for a brand, it is important to be out there. For example, if a potential client comes searching for you on Google, it's important for them to see that you exist as a company. You're not something online, you're also there outside. For investors, they also want to see what you're doing, right? And as a person who also worked as in due diligence and compliance before for some time, it's also important to think that maybe that company is waiting for a loan from a bank, and that bank will do some due diligence. And it happens. I've done it before when I was working in compliance. And the first thing they do is to search online, and we want to see if that platform, if that company exists. So these are one of the cases where we would usually use paid, because again, we understand it's not newsworthy, but it's important to be out there. And one last thing, which is really now trending, AI. So things are not only on Google anymore, right? Where do you go now when you are searching for anything? Not only on Google, you also go to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, etc., etc. And these AIs, they are scraping news content everywhere. So it's also important to think of that, which we call GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, which is not only from Google, but it also goes through AI platforms, AI tools. So again, you need to be out there if someone searches for you. Can I give an example from our own?
Yeah.
If you search on, please give me a list of some good tools for blog posting, PR News will be mentioned there, because we are doing this paid media for ourselves in order for these tools to scrap us.
Mm-hmm. So it's also good for link building?
Absolutely. For link building, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Danielle, how should one estimate the budget for paid media? Like, what are the price ranges?
Well, I brought some numbers.
Good.
Well, I know people like numbers.
Because,
right?
and we like specific answers as well.
Yeah, well, it's really difficult to think really specific, but the number I brought is from something I wrote before when we were writing this article for Entrepreneur. And then I thought about it. Okay, I think I have a number. So according to this survey from 2023, companies allocate around 99% of their budget for marketing. But when we talk about marketing, we're talking about everything, right? So it's not only paid media in press releases, but it's everything. So, and it's not too much, right? But if we go on a bigger scope, it also has to be, now I'm going to be a bit not too specific, It also has to do with the size of the company, the goal of the campaign itself. For instance, if you are launching a new product, if you are entering a new market, probably you will spend more. You will work with press releases like sponsor content, but you will also work with influencers, with paid ads on social media, maybe native ads, which is like a bigger, a deeper way to do paid content because it can be a whole landing page on a media outlet. So it really depends
Mm.
on the goal of the campaign. Or if it's a day-to-day thing, you can go smaller. For example, when we are doing this link building, we publish in websites with good numbers, good domain ranking, good views, but they don't need to be New York Times, for example. You know, there is no need to be the biggest one, but we understand that being consistent already does the work. So it always depends.
I was
I
so
know-
sure that the answer will be it depends. But can you tell us how much would be an article in like A-class media, like New York Times or Forbes or something like this?
Well, on our platform we have articles from 5 euros till 100k. Sorry, yeah.
Mm.
So it really,
So New York Times and Forbes is somewhere around 400k.
yeah. I think 50. I think Forbes
Mm-hmm.
around 50k.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah. And well, about our platform itself, the good thing is that we are really transparent. So everyone checking our platform, they can see exactly how it's going to cost. We also have, of course, our fee, but you can see, like, there is no hidden amounts or anything. So, but it's just as an example. But yeah, it can really vary between, among all kinds of media outlets.
Okay. So about getting free media coverage, we won't go deep with that today, but you will have an event. We will have an event about that, so where you talk together with Tarmo Virki how to get yourself published on media. So can you give us some little teasers what you're going to talk about there?
Yeah, I think the first thing that we will probably talk about is how to approach a journalist and how to have a conversation with them. And I think also it's interesting having Tarmo and myself there because we'll probably have a very different perspective on that and how to approach. So
Why is it different?
I'm just way cooler than he is. Probably that's why. No, I don't know. Just like some people like DMs, some people don't. Like you can email me 6 million times. Eventually, I'll get to them. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he'll say, "Oh, email me once, and I'll get to it." And I like if somebody is going to be nice and friendly to me to start with, or has researched me. Like, don't send me an email and say, "Oh, I really loved this article," and hyperlink something that I wrote, which was a funding piece that I probably scraped from a press release, did a little adjustment to it. And don't tell me that that was such a great article, because it wasn't. Like, like if you're going to go for something that was a great article, find something that I did an opinion piece on or a really good article. Don't just, because then that you've researched the journalist, so that really, that would get a little bit of credit for me. I think also we can give tips like people always think they have news, but do the audience really want to read this? Like, is it newsworthy? And then what is newsworthy? And also, you don't always have to have news to be in touch with a journalist or to get yourself in the media. Like, if you come up to us at events or get to know us in some nice, friendly manner and show us that you're an expert in an area. I don't like saying expert because there's lots of experts that literally cannot say what they're an expert in. But, if you can, in some manner, let us know that someday when we're on a specific subject and we're in tight deadline and we need someone to give a quick opinion, who can we call? So, like, making sure that the communication lines are always open. I have loads of people in my WhatsApp that I'll just ping a question to, and I know that they'll answer, or they'll be like, yeah, I can take a call in 5 minutes to give you a quick quote on that. So it doesn't always mean that it has to be about your company or whatever, but even just getting yourself in the media as an expert in something, I think is really good as well. But yeah, we'll probably be touching on a lot of this stuff on how to get in touch with us to begin with, because I do know that there's probably people that will say, oh, geez, I've been trying to contact Fee for ages and she's never gotten back to me. But put in the headline, I love your horse, he's really handsome, and I'm just going to click on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, so there's lots of little tips on how to get in touch with us, and yeah, to know what is, you called it free media, and I know that it is free media, but it's kind of earned as well. Like, you need to have a proper story that you're earning your place in the media. We're not just throwing you in there because you have a story. It's got to be a really good story, or a good backstory, or what makes you different than someone else. So yeah, I think we'll be battling that out, and yeah, it'll be great. I think actually it's more important for somebody to know who you're talking to, like what journalist you're talking to. One example is somebody did a spray and pray clearly, and they didn't look at who they were emailing or who was on their emailing list. And it's kind of irritating to me that I get an email in my inbox, and I'm usually a very positive person, so I don't want to say a negative story here, but somebody sent me an email about a founder who had won an award for the publication that I am currently the acting business editor for. And the award was the business awards for that publication. And they sent me the email asking if I wanted to write about this person. But it's the same publication. So why am I writing about it? Do you know, they haven't researched, do you know, who is she writing for at the moment, or who are the journalists writing? And then that's a little bit like, do I want to bother opening that PR or marketing manager's email ever again, because they clearly don't
do their homework.
They don't do their homework. Do you know what I mean?
But will you remember the names and be like, I will never open this person's emails again?
Sometimes I do. But no, I generally, sometimes though, I would actually email someone back, and I don't want to call out anybody. I never would do that. I don't like when people call people out. But I would email them back and just say, maybe be mindful, or in future, just put me on your list as I am this person. But you do remember things like that because you're busy. And honestly, I'm sure everyone sitting here, emails are just atrociously disgusting to look at. And there's nothing worse than when you're trying to go through your big list of emails that you have to get through, that you open something like that and it's like, you've kind of just wasted my time,
Yeah, I will put information about the event on the screen as well. And I think there are so many questions about PR, at least for me personally. So I'm really looking forward that I can ask from the real journalists with international experience. So that's super cool.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to all the roasting on all the people who write to journalists. I think that would be fun.
We have a traditional ending question in this podcast. So both of you, really quickly, please give us one recommendation on a marketing, communications, or PR-related book, blog, or podcast.
I had to write mine down so I'd remember it. And to be honest, because I'm not any of those things, this is more just broad in general, but it's Who Can You Trust by Rachel Botsman. It's how technology brought us together and why it might drive us apart. And I just think that over whether in anything in media at the moment, then we need to build trust. And this book looks at how big companies have built trust or kept trust, or how they've managed when they have really messed up. And that might be like trust with their customers or their employees or whatever. And I just think that would be a really good book for anyone. And I would imagine in marketing, well, it is really important because honestly, I personally, do I trust a lot of the marketing now? Then, yeah, that would be something that I would really think about when I'm speaking to marketing managers. How much am I trusting what they're telling me, and how much is spin,
Mhm.
So I think it's really important.
Very good.
Great.
Thank you.
Oh, well,
Follow that.
I don't know how I'll be able to. Okay, so it's not a one piece thing, but something that we work a lot, and I think it's nice to know more. It's the peso model, which is a letter like PESO. It's
Mhm.
peso.
Yeah.
So it was created by this lady called Jeannie Dietrich, and she has a website. It's called Spin Sucks, but she also has some books. And what is the peso model? It's a holistic approach of communications where you do paid, peso, yeah, paid, earned, shared, and owned.
Mhm.
So again, it's not about only paid or only earned. You have to think holistic on how to do all of them in different moments, but being really strategic.
Okay, so let's wrap it up. Thank you for sharing all the knowledge with us and explaining how things should be done. Also, thank you for listening, and I hope you found some practical takeaways that you can apply tomorrow. And if you liked the episode, then please share it with someone who might benefit from it. And if you do it on social media, then make sure to tag us. See you at our next episode where we have another experienced marketer. Take care and keep up the good marketing.